We saw big changes. We saw one or two players who've been here. It felt like the shirt was hanging heavy on one or two last season. Different tonight.
Well, do you know what? There was a good vibe, good energy before the game. We felt it. Okay, if they conceded the first goal, it could have got a bit nasty, but it was good atmosphere, good energy, and I think the team felt it off the crowd, and obviously they gave the crowd something to shout about. The first goal was huge, and after that they just played with great strength. And what I like tonight about United's performance, they played as a team. They really did. We know they've got very good individuals, but defensively, I thought midfield was outstanding. Go forward, they looked dangerous, and they could have scored a few more goals again. They made it nervous towards the end, but they deserved the victory, and a big boost for the players.
Will they also take strength from the way they managed to hang on in the end when it looked a little bit edgy?
Yeah, that was a different test for them. You know, you're 2-0, but when we were watching, I just thought if Liverpool get one, it will be a nervous last few minutes, but they kind of kept their concentration well the last few minutes, and they saw it out well. Again, that's a different challenge, but overall, you know, you can't praise them highly enough. I thought they were outstanding.
We're here till 11 o'clock tonight. We will bring you all the analysis and reaction from Old Trafford. You won't want to miss it. It's actually been a cracking Premier League weekend, hasn't it? We're only 3 weeks in. We saw Arsenal winning 3-0 at Bournemouth on Saturday night, the only side with 3 wins out of 3. Palace getting off the mark. Their first victory came against Steven Gerrard's Aston Villa. Everton's first point of the season came against Nottingham Forest. Fulham's first victory back in the Premier League in the derby against Brentford. Southampton with their first win of the season against struggling Leicester City, and Spurs with back-to-back home wins, this time against Wolves. And then on Sunday, what a super Sunday it was, starting at Ellen Road with Leeds stunning Chelsea by 3-0, and Manchester City shell-shocked up at St James's Park. They managed to come back to take a point in that thrilling 3-3 draw. And Brighton continuing their brilliant start to the season to leave West Ham pointless. Tonight, Manchester United with their first victory of the season, their first under Erik ten Hag. Liverpool still to win. You can see all of the action, all of those goals by scanning that QR code. It'll take you straight to the Sky Sports app. So this is how it leaves us after 3 games. Manchester United do leapfrog Liverpool up into 14th place with their first points of the season. Such a disappointing start for Liverpool. Just 2 points on the board from their first 3. Already they're 5 points behind Manchester City and 7 behind leaders Arsenal, the only team taking maximum points from the first 3 games. And they'll be looking to make it 4 wins on the bounce on the Saturday Night Football. They're taking on Fulham in the London derby, 5 o'clock. Super Sunday, we watch Wolves, who's spending big late in the window against mightily impressive Newcastle United. And Super Sunday, Forest have made a flying start, haven't they? They take on Spurs in our second game at 4 o'clock. It has been a carnival atmosphere at Old Trafford this evening for supporters of Manchester United. Sancho and Rashford helping Erik ten Hag to get his first victory. United up and running.
Relentless Reds at the moment. And they're coming for Jadon Sancho. Still Sancho. Cool as you like. Done with ice in his veins. And it's no more than Manchester United deserve. And Liverpool are 1-0 down again. Martial and Rashford played in against Alisson here. Marcus Rashford scores! The classic counter-attack. Rashford built his reputation on it.
First goal in 18 appearances for Marcus Rashford. Jadon Sancho's first since March. It was that kind of night for Manchester United, who managed to hold on despite Liverpool's late threat to come back into this game. And Erik ten Hag has his first victory as Manchester United manager. We can hear from the goal scorers now with Jeff Shreves.
Marcus, Jadon, we can hear what it means to the crowd. What did that mean to the United players?
Yeah, it means a lot. As you can see, our first 2 games didn't go so well. So we knew today was a big game and we have to turn that around today.
How much do you think you needed that on many levels, Marcus?
Yeah, you know, it's obviously a massive game for the club. I've always said, regardless of the circumstances that you're in, a game against Liverpool is massive, and no matter what circumstances you're in. So to get the win today is massive, and like Jayden said, we've not done so well starting the season, so it's good to pick up the first 3 points.
It was a million miles from the first 2 performances of the season. What was the difference tonight?
To be honest, I think just energy. We started the game at a higher tempo, and we was tired towards the end, but we kept going and we just stuck at it. They got a goal back and we didn't fold. We kept defending well. And it was an enjoyable game to play in.
Jayden, going into the game tonight, how much were the players burning after what happened last week? How much of that superb performance was based on a poor performance last week?
Yeah, obviously last week hurt a lot, so we knew we had to bounce back. And tonight we showed the fans what we can do, and we just have to carry on this momentum. And hopefully next week we get another win.
You had showed tremendous composure with your goal. How were you so aware of how much time you had?
To be fair, I didn't realise how much time I had, but once I chopped the defender, I just knew I had to compose myself to finish. So I'm happy I scored.
Marcus, was that vintage your goal, in behind?
Yeah, it was a goal that I've scored quite regularly. So important for me to get them types of goals. And I felt I was in good areas today, good positions. On another day, I could have had a few more goals. So just keep going, keep working hard, and focus on the next game.
It clearly worked. Tell us about the manager's tactical switch at half-time when he pushed you out to that left side.
I think it's just the versatility that we have in the team. We can do many different things, especially in attack. So the game was going well. We were in the first half. We was attacking some good spaces, but we weren't quite getting the end product that I felt we deserved in the first half. In the second half, probably slightly less clear-cut chances, but we done better with them. And for us to be able to switch and chop and change positions like that is always a positive.
Jayden, a very welcome 3 points, first win of the season, but how important as well the manner of the victory tonight?
No, it means a lot to all of us. You can see how the fans reacted, and we knew it was a big game today. So we're just happy that we got the 3 points, but it's not over. We're on to the next game and focused till then.
Is it important as well, though? It gives you all belief that you're all united as one. It's a new manager. It's a transitional period in many ways. But if you can produce performances like that, you're going in the right direction.
For sure. We just have to produce like what we've done today every single game. So, again, we're on to the next game. Happy that we got the 3 points, and we move on.
Congratulations, guys. Well done.
Thank you very much.
A couple of very happy Manchester United players. We're delighted to be joined by the Manchester United manager, Erik ten Hag. Before we get into the technical aspects of tonight's game, can you actually, to what's been a difficult start for you, sum up your emotions right now?
We can talk about tactical, but it's all about attitude. And now you see, we bring the attitude on the pitch. There was communication, there was a fighting spirit, and especially there was team. And then you can see what they can achieve because they can fucking cool play football.
You had 9 days. Sorry, I apologise for a language if there was a little F-bomb dropped in there.
Sorry.
I do apologise for that.
I quite enjoyed it.
I wasn't sure if it was lost in translation, Erik. I do apologise. You had 9 days to prepare for this game, but did you expect that kind of reaction from the Brentford game?
I wanted a different approach. I wanted a different attitude, and that is what they bring on the pitch. And that's what makes me satisfied. But it's only a start. We have to keep humble. I think we can play much better if we have a little bit more composure, give an extra pass. We can much more dangerous because, what I say, we have good players. But now be a team, be a good spirit, and then you will act. And that is what we saw today in moments. But also when you have to make the game, you have to be better on the ball.
Erik, specifically, you've mentioned attitude, fighting spirit. It was absolutely amazing to watch. But what actually have you done during the week, and what have you said to the players?
It's not always about what we said. What I said to them, we have to act, not to talk a lot, just to act and make sure you are a team and battle and also be brave. Give each other options when we have the ball. So it's not only about spirit. When we out of possession, yes, we want to press. And sometimes I think strikers that they cannot do it because they have to save the energy for their offensive actions. In nowadays football, both is a demand. You have to bring it on the pitch out of possession, and then you can be a threat in possession. And that is what you saw. It makes me happy that Rashford and Jadon Sancho make the goals.
You gave the captaincy to Bruno Fernandes. Do you think that was the biggest difference in his performance tonight? Because he was absolutely sensational from minute 1 to 90, never stopped working.
I think he took the responsibility, and I think it encouraged him, the captaincy, and I think he showed leadership together with Rafa Varane. I think definitely on the pitch they make a huge difference, but that is what they have to bring, and I think it's not only them two. I think we need more leaders. When you want to get a winning team, you need more leaders, and you need the spirit what we showed today.
And what they showed tonight, obviously the players earned the right to play. Sometimes you think the team turns up and they think they can just play their nice football, but they've got to earn their right, and they've done that tonight with their tackling, as you said, with the spirit, with their energy. They gave everyone a boost, and you must be over the moon with it.
I was happy with it, but they have to bring it every game, and not in only one game. Of course, we are happy. I know the rivalry against Liverpool, but don't bring it only against Liverpool. Every Premier League game is difficult, is heavy, so you have to bring it in every game. This organization and this intensity, and it starts once again with the spirit.
Eric, the intensity was too much for Liverpool to cope with throughout the game. So you talk about you need that spirit every game, but sort of what you did almost tactically, some of the decisions in the game. Obviously, David De Gea went long with every ball. You picked 3 strikers who had pace to run behind. There's obviously a lot of important thought tactically for the game as well.
Yeah, of course, tactical is also a part of it, and of course you see where can you have weapons in the game, and yeah, we play on speed in front. That's quite clear, and also I want to have with Christian Eriksen, Bruno Fernandes. We have playing midfield. They can give a pass, and together with Scott McTominay, I must say he played also a magnificent game. They were really good in the midfield, was good in balance, and then you can hurt an opponent, and I think we can do it of possession, out of building up, but also in the transition, and definitely we play on the transition today.
I asked you about Martinez when we did the interview a few days ago. He was out excellent tonight. What do you think about his performance in terms of coming up against a top quality team, but a team who played slightly different, maybe trying to play through the lines and play in behind? He dealt with it fantastically well.
Yeah, I saw the same, but I know he can do both. He is for a defender. His skills, his technical skills are quite good, and his fighting spirit is there, and also his positioning and his battling over the ground, but also in aerial. He's not the tallest, but he has a good timing.
You made big selection decisions as well this evening, Eric, leaving out Harry Maguire, who you made the captain, or you kept as captain in the summer, and also Cristiano Ronaldo. Can I ask how difficult those decisions were to make and how those players reacted to the news?
Personal is always difficult, but I have the decisions to make. Once I will say I have a squad, and we have to use the squad, and we play 50, 60 games, and so we will, from game to game, we will see what team we have to pick. And I don't have to mention Harry Maguire and Ronaldo are amazing players, and they will play a role in the future as well, and in the short future as well.
And can you tell us how important Casemiro is going to be for you? We saw him here this evening watching.
We were talking about leadership, and today we had leadership on the pitch, but he is the one as well. He knows the game, he knows how to win. So he, in his career, he wins so many trophies. And that's important to have that in your team. Rafa Varane has it. So with him, with Casemiro, we have another one. Ronaldo has it. So you need some. There's like a guidance for young players who didn't achieve till now the trophies, but that is what we want to achieve. So I hope their presence will be a huge stimulation to the rest.
It's a big signing for the club. The transfer window is still open. Ideally, how many more would you like to bring here?
You can never tell, and we said from the beginning we want to bring the right players in, and not any players. I think now again we have the right player. I'm convinced of that, and the window is not closed. And you see, you need numbers, but not only numbers, you need quality, and they give so much. And I think when you bring it on the pitch, you will get stronger physically, mentally. But if you have to bring it every 3 days, you need, especially in front, you need numbers, quality numbers.
Eric, good luck with it, and thank you so much for joining us tonight, and go and enjoy the victory. Congratulations.
Yeah, please.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
The language is coming on beautifully as well, and the industrial language. Thank you.
Well done.
Eric, thank you very much. Just give us an idea, Gary, from your perspective, what an impact he's been able to have over the last 9 days on that group.
I'm absolutely stunned, to be honest with you, Dave. I didn't think that was possible tonight, what I saw in terms of response, because I thought that the players had sort of cemented what they do week in, week out now over many months at the end of last season, the start of this season. So what's happened this week, I don't know, but they've responded. Maybe the slight changes in personnel, making brave decisions. Obviously, you know, the captain, the star player have both been left on the bench, which means the manager just gains a little bit of gravitas maybe with other players. I think Bruno has responded. I think that obviously Martinez at the back has played well alongside Varane. I don't know what it is, but I can't believe what I've just witnessed. I mean, Liverpool weren't at the best, let's be really clear, but they weren't at the best against Crystal Palace and Fulham. But it was just the effort difference that we saw from Manchester United. They've outrun Liverpool, they've out-sprinted Liverpool, and we've questioned that a number of times on this show over the last sort of 12 months that they're not capable of doing it, and they've shown tonight they are capable of doing it.
Is that the biggest surprise, Jamie? I mean, we'll come on to what happened to Liverpool tonight, but in terms of Manchester United, from where they were against Brentford.
Yes, I mean, listen, we said it throughout commentary, they're outstanding. You could feel it in I think the first 30 seconds. Bruno Fernandes sprints at sort of Alisson. You could feel it was going to be that type of the game. And the disappointment for me was that Liverpool weren't ready for a derby game. And that for me is unforgivable. I mean, I absolutely love this team, what they've done over the last 4 or 5 years. And you can very rarely throw that at them. But it's happened too often this season. In the first 3 league games, it's happened twice where they don't look ready for a game, and that's something I think that we're worrying sort of Jurgen Klopp right now. What I would say, and listen, I thought Manchester United were brilliant, but tonight was a different game than what they had in the first 2 games, where they had 70% of the ball and the other team did to United what they've done to Liverpool tonight, where they've looked intense, the running stats. But when you have 70% of the ball, as United did, the opposition are normally going to run more than you have more sprints than you. So the games will be different coming forward, but in terms of intensity, their attitude that the managers asked for, it was night and day compared to Liverpool.
He brushed off my question, Roy, on emotions tonight, Eric Ten Hag, but how much strength will he take from those big decisions, those big calls, actually paying off?
Oh, it's a huge boost for him. Because, again, there is question marks. He's trying to win the players over. He's made some big calls tonight, playing home to Liverpool. It's on the TV. He knows it's a huge atmosphere. And he wins the game. It's the best feeling in the world when you win a game of football. You go into the training ground tomorrow, the manager, the players, the staff, everyone in the canteen will just give everyone a lift, that bit of energy. The feel-good factor will be back at the club for a few days anyway until the next game. They obviously have to back it up, like he said. It's no good just doing it once every few weeks, not when you play for Man United. So I think it's a big boost for him and the staff and the players. And as I said, there's only benefits from winning football matches.
And it's a building block, isn't it? It's the first building block. But Jamie's saying it's a very different challenge playing a team like Liverpool to playing teams that are going to let you have the ball.
Now that can't be a one-off. That's the standard that they've now set, that we've all seen it. You know, hundreds of millions of people around the world will watch that game over the next few days in terms of the work ethic, the amount they've run. I think it was 12k more than they ran last weekend, something like that.
They were 13 down on the opposition last week, and they were 2 kilometres above them this week.
Yeah, but they've run a lot more tonight than they have done previously. So they've set themselves a standard and also played some decent football along the way. And I have to say that tonight also it demonstrated that Eric Ten Hag doesn't have to come here. I mean, obviously in certain games he will dominate possession, but he doesn't have to dominate possession in every single match. He can play on the counter-attack, which they've done tonight successfully. But I think it's really important. Look, I think Manchester United teams that have done well have always had legs up front, players who can run, players who can stretch the legs and run the length of the pitch and counter-attack. Tonight, Manchester United had that. And they had a back four that were tenacious. The boy Melissa at left-back, I saw a little bit of it against Brentford. A little bit of fight, a little bit of tenacity, a little bit of spirit. He brought that against Brentford and he's brought it tonight in abundance. And everybody else then just gets a buzz off it. The crowd were cheering after 2 or 3 minutes because of tackles, not because of goals, not because of brilliant passes, because of tackles and effort. And that's probably a sad indictment of where Manchester United have been, but you've seen the response that they can get from this crowd. Obviously, it was a crowd that tonight could have gone moody. They were under great pressure, those Manchester United
I think you
players.
felt at the start of the game, United were on a precipice, weren't they, here tonight?
Honestly,
could have gone either way.
They were under massive pressure tonight, those Manchester United players. You know, it would have turned in here. It would have been awful if Liverpool go 1-2 up in that first 20 minutes. for them to respond to what they did last week is a big, big moment for Erik ten Hag and the players. Doesn't take away the pressure from the owners. They still need to go, by the way. But the players and the manager and the coach, I think, have done a job
Gary,
tonight, which shows that they're committed.
They did bring that pressure on themselves. Let's not forget how bad they've been. It's not as if we were too harsh on them over the last few weeks. They've been abysmal. They deserve that criticism. But tonight, they've turned up for Man United and put in a performance. You go, yeah, listen, well done, but you got to get the balance right. The key is now to back it up over the weekend.
We'll bring you analysis. We'll show you the goals again in just a moment. Let's bring you some Liverpool reaction right now. Andy Robertson is with Emma Saunders.
Andrew, not the result you would have wanted, but how do you sum up that performance?
Yeah, obviously not great. It's definitely not been the start of the season we wanted. It's been really poor. We give every team a goal start, which that's the base of the game. You can't keep on giving yourself an uphill battle. We've conceded an early goal again. We've started slow again, and that's what needs to change. You can't keep on going behind, especially, probably in the warm-up and everything. It's the quietest I've ever heard this stadium. Do you know what I mean? They wanted something to lift them, and we unfortunately gave them it. And then obviously they got behind their team, and the players reacted, and you end up finding yourself 1-0 down. We start the second half slow again. You find yourself 2-0 down. Then you start to find your rhythm. We start creating chances. We score a goal, and then we look to try and make them a wee bit nervous, but we didn't. To be fair, they seen the game out well. So, like I said, 2 points from 9 is not the start that we wanted. We need to pick our performances up individually and collectively very quickly, and we need to kickstart our season. That's for sure.
You say there about a slow start again. Can you put your finger on why so?
No, but we need to very quickly. We need to come together. We need to address it as a team, because we can't keep on going out there, and it's easy talking about it in the changing room. It's easy talking about it before the game, but we have to go out and do it. We can't keep conceding goals. We have to be a team that starts the game well, that puts pressure on the other team, not the other way about. And that's 3 games this season now. Maybe Crystal Palace a wee bit different. We started really well there and then get hit with a sucker punch, but Fulham started better than us. They definitely started better than us today. Even when you go back to the end of last season, Wolves, Real Madrid, teams like that, Southampton, that was the back end of last season, already kicked in. So it needs to change. We can't, like I said, in this league against good teams, you can't keep giving them a goal start, and just now, unfortunately, that's what we're doing.
I can hear the frustration in your voice. You can see it on the pitch as well. There were some quite heated discussions going on between James Milner, Virgil van Dijk. What was going through your head, especially after that first goal was conceded?
It was, we need to get our fingers out very quickly. And I think we did calm down near the end of the first half. I thought the last 10-15 minutes we started playing the football we wanted to play, started creating chances. You look to carry that into the second half, but we start the second half, slow again. And look, of course we're frustrated. We're a team that want to win games, and just now it's not happening. But it's so important that we stick together. The team is tight. We're a really close unit, and obviously things need to be said. But also we need to stick together, and we're all in it together. And things will get better. I do believe that, but it needs to start quickly, because, like you said, it's not been the start we wanted. We're far behind where we want to be, and in this league it's very unforgiving. So we need to get results quickly. We need to start kicking into gear, and if we do that, then I'm sure we'll look back on this, and that's what kick-started it. But we need our first 3 points, that's for sure.
How do you now describe this task ahead as far as the title race is concerned? I appreciate we're still pretty early on in the season, but...
Look, it's early on in the season, but even if we were at the top of the league, we wouldn't be thinking about the title race. Do you know what I mean? We've always been consistent in that every season. You don't really think about it until you get closer to where you can see everyone at. The start of the season's always a bit messy, where you just try and find your feet. This season we haven't done it, and we're not thinking about that. We need to get our first win on the board. We need to try and get our first win. We need to try and get ahead in the first game and try and put in a good performance, get our first clean sheet, and get back to our basics. And if we do that, that's the only way we win games. That's as simple as that. We've always been a hard-working team. We've always been honest. We've always been passionate. We need to keep doing that, but we also need to be clinical in both boxes. And if we do that, I believe the results will come, but they need to become quickly.
Well, thank you for your time this evening.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Honest opinions of Andy Robertson as ever. Jamie, how worrying is it? Not just tonight, but on the back of Fulham first weekend and dropping points as well in the first home game against Crystal Palace.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you could almost not dismiss the first 2 games, but, Fulham, a newly promoted team, Liverpool win at the races. They've done really well against City the week before. Liverpool played well against Palace. They were unlucky, went down to 10 men, still dominated the game with 10 men. It was one of those games that they should have probably won. Today is a big worry. Not the result. You can come to Manchester United and lose. It's a tough place to come. But it was the manner of the way they started the game, a derby game. You know, away, whether it's Goodison or Old Trafford, you always know there's going to be a little bit of need, there's an extra bit on it. Manchester United, it was obvious how they were going to start the game. They had to start the first 15, 20 minutes like their lives depended on it and get this crowd involved, and they did. And it was like Liverpool weren't ready. Now, at the moment, when you're watching Liverpool, obviously it was the first time they've lost in about 20 league games. So
First time in 2022, unbelievable.
Yeah, but there is a little pattern, even going back to Fulham, even like the Champions League final, where a lot of teams are going, well, OK, we're not going to play out from the back, so we'll let you press us. And when you get the ball, we're going to drop off, and we're trying to hit you on the counter-attack. So Liverpool find it very difficult to break teams down when everyone's in front of them. And every time Liverpool play a game of football, and I know Liverpool have been amazing, and people say it's the thing you've got to accept, that someone runs through on the goal every time. But I'm a centre-back, and I didn't play on the halfway line the way teams do now. But when someone runs through at your goal every single game, something can't be right. I've never thought it was right. It doesn't happen to Man City. And so every time Liverpool play a game of football, they get hit on the counter-attack and someone runs through on goal. And it's just whether Alisson can save it or not. Tonight he couldn't. So there's 3 or 4 things how Liverpool play and how teams are now doing the opposite to try and negate them, to stop them. And Liverpool are finding it really difficult at the moment.
I think they've got enough credit in the bank, this group of players and this manager. And the fact they've got 6 players missing: Matip, Konate, Keita, Thiago, Nunez and Jota. I think they've got enough credit in the bank for us to go easy on them, because look, that game you can lose in any season. It can happen. I'm surprised that Manchester United have done what they've done tonight. You know, they should have beaten Crystal Palace on Monday. They were unlucky, and then Fulham got caught them out on the first game. The problem is, because of the standards that Manchester City have set and Liverpool have set over this last few years, you end up thinking it's a real worry because of the bigger picture. Ordinarily, in any normal decade, that wouldn't be a sort of, picking up a couple of points in your first 3, you'd recover from it. But City, where they are, obviously is a problem for Liverpool in the sense of winning the title, because they're a few points behind. But I think it'll be harsh. Look, I wouldn't be worried if I was Liverpool, because they've got lots of players to come back.
Roy?
I'd be worried if I was Klopp. What I've seen tonight, I think defensively very, very casual. Going back to the Fulham game, Van Dijk, look at the game of Fulham, even the other night against Palace, I thought he could have done better. Tonight, we've made the point about he's arguing with James Milner. I know that can happen, but it just seemed a bit more than that. It just seemed a bit more than the normal falling out with a player.
But how many times did we start in a season a bit scruffy, a
yeah,
little
but
bit sloppy?
Man City and these teams weren't around then.
I know, but still, I just think cut them a bit of slack. They've had an unbelievable few years. They get to a Champions League final last season.
Oh, we're not hammering them.
I wouldn't be worried about Liverpool.
But when you set such high standards, and you start the season like that, then again you're going to be criticised.
They dropped points in 10 games last season. That's
sorry?
points. They dropped points in 10 games last season. They've done it in the first 3 days.
It's the first game they've lost in about, it feels like an absolute age. It's going to happen. This is the type of place, to be fair, where you would lose a game, because this is the type of ground that can just eat you up if you're not right.
Gary, I totally agree with what you're saying. I find it very difficult. How can you be critical? They've done so much. They're amazing. It's only 3 games into a season. It wasn't losing here. It was the manner and the way they didn't start the game. And it's happened so often now, sort of in the last sort of 10 games. I think it's 7 games in a row they conceded the first goal. That's not a freak. That's a pattern that you need to change very quickly.
And even the 2 draws. The first 2 games, you might say draws. Draws. You can't see Man City drawing a home to Palace, maybe, possibly, or going to Fulham. I just think you can't afford them that sloppy defending, particularly from your best defenders. Van Dijk, he's been really off it.
One thing I would say about Van Dijk is that there was a time maybe last season, certainly before his injury, you wouldn't even see players taking Van Dijk on. They'd refuse it. They'd just pass it. They are now starting to think, I've got a chance here. Might just have a go at him. So he's got to sort that out. But I think those players will kick themselves into gear in the next week or 2.
We'll get Jurgen Klopp's take on it very shortly. We will also revisit the goals and the analysis from tonight's game. Do stay with us. We're here until 10 o'clock tonight on the Monday Night Football. 11 o'clock, I should say. It's been one of those days. It's been a special day for Manchester United, that's for sure. Analysis and Jurgen Klopp still to come. We'll hear from Jurgen Klopp very shortly. Liverpool beaten here 2-1 by Manchester United tonight. Jadon Sancho got the first goal, his first since March. But Roy, what did you like about United's build-up for it?
A bit of composure, quality. They were getting bodies in the box. They started well. He just felt the goal was coming, and that was vital. United got the first goal tonight. Again, Rashford was excellent tonight, making some good runs. Even here, just little balls. Brilliant. Fernandes here, brilliant. But again, no panic. Liverpool getting numbers back, not probably really with that intensity. And then you're worried, you're thinking, listen, is it going to fizzle out here? But I like this pass here, lovely. And this is where you want your quick play and your quality. Poor from Liverpool. Sancho, who's been having such a difficult time, I'd have to give him loads of credit. Plenty of composure. lovely finish and a great start for United.
We talked a lot about confidence beforehand. It's almost like he's waved a magic wand at them.
Look, just playing the ball forward, playing the ball in behind defenders, players who are willing to run into space, and then that little bit, as Roy just said, composure. And he's got that, Sancho. I think he's one of the best that United have in tight spaces where he can manipulate the ball, he can shift his feet. And then that last bit, there's a gap there, but you're still going to find it. And I think it summed up United's first 15, 16 minutes. They were outstanding. They were frantic at times in that first 10 minutes, but then they did show that little bit of, like I say, that little bit of cold that you need in the box. They got that right at the end, and I say it was a good start to the game.
And then we saw that exchange of words, didn't we, between James Milner and Virgil van Dijk. Jamie, what was all this about?
Well, there's an argument. James Milner saying I was on the floor. You know, Virgil van Dijk, whether he's had a go or him. And now James Milner's saying, look at me. I think Jamie Redknapp and Gary Neville have started something.
There's a lot about.
But he's saying he threw himself on the floor. Basically, where are you? Where are you? And listen, I think...
Who's at fault?
I mean, the first goal... Listen, coming into this game, we did analysis on Trent and Virgil van Dijk saying they're not at the races. Trent is not intense enough there. Milner, in some ways, panics too much, throwing himself there because he's actually in front. But Van Dijk's got to come out. I mean, I don't understand why in that position. And it's the only one thing I'd ever question Virgil van Dijk on as a player. He's got, if you go through a checklist of a centre-back, he's 10 out of 10 for most things. The one thing that I do sometimes think, does he lack a little bit of intensity at certain times? I even think of the Champions League final across that company, he was just hanging his leg out. Crystal Palace, I know you never see him on the floor, and that's a strength of a defender. A defender's on the floor all the time, that was not a good sign. But now and again, when you're in the proverbial, but you've got to throw yourself at it. Crystal Palace was one of them where he had to just go onto the floor and make a block. That one with it was not to be stood there.
Fulham,
that was to come and... But he gave the penalty away of Fulham as well. But that one there is one you've just got to go flying out and just throw yourself at him. Slide along the floor, make yourself as big as possible. I mean, you can't just stand there. He almost made himself smaller by the way he stood. And that is the one thing that I sometimes think... Go, be more aggressive, maybe slide in, maybe just throw yourself in front of something.
There was another little surprise on that one. Obviously, Milner fell for the disguised shot, but Alisson went down early. He usually stands up really late, Alisson. You don't expect him to go down, obviously. He might have been blocked by the players in front of him, but
maybe it's the quality of Sancho as well. Could this be the making of him, perhaps, in a Manchester United shirt?
Look, you hope so. There was such a long, laborious way in for, to the club for him. It was terrible.
That's
and
this gap you can see that he's got to aim at.
It's just something. Look, I can't even talk about this really, because I would get in that type of position once in a blue moon and would never know what to do with it. To show that level of composure is really, really good. And look, he needed it. He needed it badly. There's been a lot of question marks about the fee, a lot of question marks about whether he can play for Manchester United, but he's shown something tonight.
Right, let's have a look at the... slightly surreal. Let's have a look at the... just seeing if there's any more guests around. The second goal. The change at half-time was interesting, wasn't it? Yeah. Because you've thought, I think, that Anthony Langer had done really well in that first half, but he opts to bring in Martial. This combination of front players had worked in pre-season, Gary.
Yeah, Martial, brilliant pre-season, but that Liverpool right channel, their right side of the defence, was always where there was going to be a problem. Look, this is Marcus Rashford. Marcus Rashford has been, I don't know what you can say, lacking in confidence. We've not seen him open his legs up and show the confidence that he showed tonight. And look, Alisson is some goalkeeper one-on-one. He's still got a lot to do. But it's the first time that I've seen Marcus Rashford play like he did do when he first come onto the scene, where he was running through on goal regularly, making those runs in behind. And it was a big moment for him. We said about the big moment for Sancho. That was a big moment for Marcus Rashford.
You did fancy when he was going through, though, didn't you? You just thought he looked in the zone. He looked kind of happy with himself.
A fraction of millimetres, wasn't it? He was just onside.
It's brilliant. It's good timing.
Good timing, like you say. But I feel you're best qualified to talk about the finish. It looked like he only had a tiny gap to aim at.
Yeah, but again, I think when you look at Marcus, I think his general performance, when you get into those positions, you just fancied him. I think that's a sign of a good player. Again, considering his confidence must be low. I spoke before the game about his desire. We saw that in abundance tonight, and again, he earned the right.
He was doing this all night, though, Roy.
But that's what he's really good at, and I think that he should simplify his game and do more of that. I know Marcus sometimes drops deep and he tries to dribble past people. Listen, there's nothing wrong with trying to improve other parts of your game, but also know your strength, your running power, especially when the space in behind it obviously is going to be the counter-attack. Marcus is perfect for that. And he missed a chance there on when he made a great run, which would have been an unbelievable goal. This is a chance here again. If you're going to be critical, brilliant play. But again, you're thinking, shocking from Liverpool. We've got to hit the target. But overall,
But he had the confidence. We had the confidence to try it as well, didn't he? We said before the game, Gary, might one goal just be the difference for him?
Yeah, look, we can't buy into the theory that every single player that's playing for Manchester United is not good enough to play for the club. Some of these players are good enough to play for the club. I made the point earlier on in the week, they've not got the right influences around them. We were very lucky when we came into the first team as young players, the players we had around us that were able to help us through. And the likes of Rashford, Sancho, young players, McTominay, they need something. They need something around them. Look, I don't know what's happened tonight. I have no idea what's happened at Manchester United this week. But what it's shown is that these players can compete and they can do something. They just need more confidence, more, the recruitment needs to improve. They still need one or two players around them.
We mentioned earlier about speaking to the manager about getting quality players in, but he kind of made a point. But you need good characters. Characters is the key. These lads turn up, they're all talented, otherwise they wouldn't be playing at this level. But you need a bit more, I think, to play for the bigger clubs. I think the manager mentioned earlier. You need courage to play at Old Trafford. When the pressure's on and the fans are getting on your back and you're under pressure, that you want the ball. When you don't want it, that's a sign of a really good player. And they showed that tonight, but they have to back it up.
But he also obviously has total faith in Lisandro Martinez. Did we see why this evening alongside Varane?
Yeah, I thought tonight would be his type of game. It'd be more about reading the game, clever runs in behind, being tight and aggressive with people, rather than Liverpool actually playing direct football. Listen, he's obviously a very aggressive player, and this manager knows him better than anyone. But I said, this will be a game where, getting on the ball, can he actually play that pass as we saw there that takes out Liverpool's press? But that's what he's about. He's a really aggressive defender. He's a fighter. And as I said, in those first couple of games, he was targeted, but that was never going to be the case against Liverpool or against the Man City. But it still will come, and he will have to deal with that. But what he'll have to be is, he gets a little
awareness
bit of
there as well, though, to get back on the line.
Yeah, I mean, the thing I would say about Martinez, as I said, we see his clips, he's really aggressive, reads the game well, gets on the ball well. We heard everything the manager said about him. He knows him better than anybody. But what I would say about him, because of his size, and we've mentioned that, is that is a problem for him. It doesn't matter what anyone says. Being 5'9" as a centre-back is a problem. But if I think of the best centre-back I ever seen play was Franco Baresi, and he was 5'9", 5'10". Number one, he didn't play in England, but what it means is you to compensate for your lack of height and being good in the air and maybe getting dominated time, you have to be outstanding at everything else, and that's what Baresi was. So Baresi organises the whole team. He's light and quick. He brings the ball out. So he's almost 10 out of 10 at everything else, and maybe 6 out of 10 in the air. So that's what made him what he was. So for Martinez, tonight he showed that. So he has to be fantastic on the ball. He has to win all his duels on the floor. He has to read the game. Can he organise that defence and be a warrior? And if he's really good at all those are fantastic, it'll compensate for his lack of height. But being 5'9" in the Premier League is something to worry about. Of course it is.
It was a massive... Look, he was absolutely outstanding. Him and Melissa at left back were outstanding tonight. They were unbelievable. However, they'll probably find that game easier tonight than they will do at Southampton and at Leicester next week away from home, because there's no doubt that Melissa is quite small as well. He's smaller than Martinez, I think. They will put the ball into that channel a lot more directly. Liverpool didn't do that tonight, so the challenges will still come.
Is that where he will use the squad, Eric Ten Hag, like he told us he might do?
He may do, and he might have to put Martinez to left back, and he may have to put Harry Maguire back in at centre defence. It'll be interesting to see what he does, but away from home, where against the teams who are a bit more pragmatic, a bit more direct, where the problems will come.
Sorry, but having said that, you don't want to be chopping and changing your back four every week either, and your goalkeeper.
Would that be a problem?
Of course it would be. I think the odd game, you might have to make changes, but you want to get a foundation at the club. We talk about the spine. You certainly want to settle back four and a goalkeeper that are used to playing together, and that's how he learned his trade. Again, he's new to the Premier League. Chopping and changing every second week, it's not going to do him any good.
Martinez is here to stay in that position. A Dutch coach bringing a centre-back in with a left foot. Every Dutch coach does that. They just do. That's how they're brought up. That left-sided centre-back has to have a left foot for the passing angles and playing out from the back. Louis van Gaal done it with Daley Blind, another player who maybe physically wasn't maybe right for the Premier League. He was a clever player, really good on the ball. And Martinez will be the same. And I don't think he'll be chopping and changing, because for Ten Hag, that'd be vital to have a left-footed centre-back.
Right, more reactions still to come. We're yet to hear from Jurgen Klopp, and we will put that right in a few minutes' time. This is difficult territory. 3 games into the season for the team that got 92 points last time round and still looking for that first victory. He's on the way.